Hello, everyone. I'm Cash Miller. I'm the host of Marketing Masters. I'm the CEO of Titan Digital. Today, we're going to be talking about how you work SEO and pay-per-click and other, different digital marketing strategies together, because there's a lot of ways that they can play off of each other. Yeah, and so if you're using multiple things, there's a lot of benefit, and that's what we're going to be covering. I've got with me David Forman, Clarity Creative. David, it's great to have you on. Tell us a bit about yourself and your agency.
Yeah. So, agency's been around for 14 years. I am a lover of digital. Uh, love, just being online and doing what we do. I'm very data driven, and so is our agency. And so that's what we kind of try to focus on. Making sure that what we're doing has results that usually you could show what's working, what's not. And I know SEO, pay per click, everything we're going to talk about today, has a data aspect of it. So we try to use that to kind of show what's working and what not for our clients. And yeah, we just love to nerd out about all things marketing.
Yeah, like I say, it's what people don't realize is, like, in digital marketing, the landscape is really extensive. I mean, there's a lot of different things we can do. Yeah, like I say, SEO, pay per click, programmatic, social media. There's a ton of stuff that we can do from a strategy standpoint. And different kind of campaigns we can run and whatnot. But they also can work together a great deal. And so, you know, we've got SEO and pay per click as an example. If you're driving traffic, through organic rankings and such, well, that traffic's ending up on a website, and then you can use paid ads to follow people around and get them to come back. That's just, a starting point of what you can do. So what are some of the strategies that you like, when you're working with clients and stuff, that you've seen that are most effective when we're putting multiple things together?
Oh, yeah. So I love retargeting, right? What a great idea, because it's such a low cost option, but with such a high return, because like suddenly you start showing up on Yahoo, ESPN,
Hmm.
places that you can build credibility on by just being there, and they're like, oh, I've heard of them. Oh, why are they following me? And people
Yeah.
sometimes even like laugh and go, oh my goodness, like I'm seeing my ads everywhere,
Yeah. Right.
and be like, oh man,
Yeah.
I visited this person, and now he's following me. I'm gonna have to do
I,
business with him.
I gotta throw this in there
Yeah.
too for retargeting. So I went on Amazon the other day, and I've got three dogs at the house, and they're two of them are huskies, and so
Oh wow.
we like to feed them a little bit better food and whatnot, than what you might get at Walmart. And so I started looking up, like, because I want to kibble, dry dog food, because
Hmm.
it's still a little less expensive. So I looked on Amazon. I'm looking for healthy dog food and everything, and there was some brand that I've never heard of.
Hmm.
It's like, farm to table, for your dog or something like that. But sure enough, the very next day on Hulu, I'm watching something and I got a streaming ad for that brand. And I did
Hmm.
not Google them or anything. I found them through Amazon.
Yeah. It all
So
put together.
yeah, exactly. So, my avenue was one. Yeah, but I ended up getting on a totally different platform, an ad from that brand. So, just as an example. So, what are some of the things, I say strategies and things like I've been seeing?
Yeah. So one thing that we love to do for our clients is run an SEO campaign, writing blogs, going after, kind of some, what we call keyword clusters to kind of help,
Hmm.
build kind of credibility hand in hand with a pay-per-click campaign, especially for new clients of ours, right? And that gives us some great kind of keyword data right away, right? Because SEO takes time, could be
Yeah.
months, could be years. And a lot of times in a perfect world, the site's already going and already has some
Hmm.
steam. But a lot of times we'll take new sites over that had no data before or very limited. So we'll a lot of times use some of what we can get from pay per click, so some of the search terms, and try to see like, oh well, what is working? What click throughs do we work with? What headlines are working and things like that? And should that page also have some of that text? Because pay per click is so immediate, right? You can turn it on, turn it off. You can show up, for what keywords you want to show up for. You can start using some of that data to help kind of, use for some SEO stuff early on. And I know they're two different purposes, but it again gets you just kind of some like initial data of what people are searching. That sometimes if you have no data, at least you have something to kind of build from. So
Yeah, combining SEO and paid ads is often really good. One of the things we like to do is combine pay-per-click ads with programmatic ads.
mm,
Similar in nature, in the sense that, so if you're searching for something, and you're doing the terms, what I like to tell people is like, okay, say they search for landscaping services. Well, you could have 20 different, companies advertising, and Google's got 4 slots. So
mhm.
for one, there's no guarantee that you're going to be one of those 4 for that particular search. Okay, Google's going to get you in there somewhere, but if there was 100 searches, you might show up 20 times or something. Yeah, so you might have the missed opportunity there. You don't know it, but you could. Okay, now the next stage is you did show, but they didn't click your ad. Yeah, well, they are still searching for landscaping services. And then finally, you have where you did show and they did click your ad. But you take the first 2, they still had an intent. They still did a search. And I can hit you with a programmatic ad. So I can hit you with an image ad. I can hit you with a streaming video or audio ad and stuff because of you doing the search to begin with.
Mhm.
So I have with the programmatic the chance to pick up and get in front of people that did have the buyer intent. They need somebody, but you weren't one of the options or the option chosen. But I can still put them in front, because it doesn't mean, if I can do it quick enough, it doesn't mean they made a decision on who they're going with.
Oh yeah.
They're doing some research. Maybe they contacted a company. Maybe they didn't like the quote they got. Maybe, any number of things. So, you combine those 2 things and you have another chance to get in front of people.
The other cool thing about the programmatic ones or whatever, I've always kind of called them like audience or segmented targeting,
Yeah.
right? But it's probably the same thing, right? Is going after expensive keywords that you
That's
can
a good one.
now drip
Yeah.
later on, that you're not paying for that keyword, but you're paying just it shows up somewhere else. But now, some lawyer ones that we'll end up doing
Yeah.
are in the $1,000. They're not gonna we don't have the budget for most attorneys don't have the budget for that. Some do. We haven't found that one yet. But
Yeah.
but but we get it. But how can we use the budget, and get the most out of it? Because that's what it's all about, right? Yeah, you could
Mhm.
spend that $1,000 for that one click, but that's worth one. Maybe we could get you 10, right? That does help in terms of using your budget more effectively. So
Yeah, and that's another good example is, and you might be running ads. Okay, so let's say, go to your example of the lawyer. Okay, you are running pay-per-click ads, but there are certain terms you're not able to target because of the cost.
yeah.
We know in that kind of a category, divorce is really expensive.
Mhm.
There can be any number of them. So there might be certain ones that are lower end you're able to target, but higher end, high expensive, because you know, really, and it depends on where you're at. If you're in a big location, it gets a lot more expensive. I know I heard recently that, if you target certain keywords in LA, it's like $200 for one click. I mean, it's like, that's insanity,
Mhm.
to me. So, but a programmatic ad won't necessarily cost that. So you might be running a paid ad campaign, but you're using programmatic ads, that audience segmentation for other keywords you're not targeting that way. You
Oh
know,
yeah. I love it.
Another thing too, I'll give you another example because we mentioned expensive keywords. Um, Sometimes it's systems. So with pay-per-click ads, we often focus on Google. We forget about Bing. Okay, but in some cases, those keywords can be cheaper on that system. So you take and Bing is not good for a lot of places to target, but high population cities it works
Mhm.
because it's still used. You got enough of a population. So you take a place like LA, the same keywords that you would not touch on Google, you might be able to do on Bing because they're a lot cheaper and there's enough volume to make it worth running a campaign.
Oh yeah. Well, demographically, if you're targeting, dare I say, a 50 and up crowd, it's not crazy to think that Bing is not a preferred search engine for them at this point, just
Hmm.
because they don't want to switch or they don't know how to. It's not the end of
Yeah,
the world,
yeah.
but if you want to show up for them, they might be using that first. They might switch over to Google at some point, but a lot of times they type it in because they're using the Edge browser, and that's just the default. So,
Yeah, and so you can also combine it kind of where you were going is, that 50 and older crowd, you might be targeting them on Bing to actually get the the paid traffic there, and then you're retargeting, because Bing doesn't really have a retargeting option.
That's true.
So you're so Google is running the retargeting ads to follow them around, but you're actually using Bing to drive the traffic because it's significantly cheaper for that 50 and older crowd.
We're saving money. We're saving money.
Yeah. So, the idea and the theme here is like looking for platform combinations that make sense. So another one could be, I run a lot of pay-per-click ads through Google, but I run a lot of retargeting through Facebook.
Huge.
And so, like I say, or vice versa. I use Google on the retargeting side, and I'm using Facebook. Yes, I'm retargeting there, but I'm using it to drive large numbers of traffic because the clicks are cheaper.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Facebook is a phenomenal audience finder, right? It's good for finding things because people are a little bit more sharing in Facebook what they like, don't like, what they follow, don't follow. Right. So if that's a good user intent, right? Now, probably like the divorce attorney, it's going to have a hard time trying to find the ideal client on Facebook for them. But like you said, they could then retarget there. But like if you're an outdoor enthusiast, right? Chances are, they're liking, following, doing things, sharing stuff that Facebook knows what they are, and they already have an audience for it. And Google has some. I find that obviously the lists on Facebook tends to go a lot deeper. And so, yeah, you could use that and then, retarget them or do other YouTube ads or other ways to kind of follow them around the internet so they don't just see in the one spot.
Yeah, because like I say, some of it's a combination. Like it's the platforms that make sense because of cost and whatnot. So like, you could be targeting because like programmatic has the ability to drive lots of cheap clicks. And then you use a different platform. Like I say, you could be combining Google and Facebook for the retargeting purpose. On that because of what they were looking for. So you could be, especially if you're like in the e-commerce space or anything like that, where you might be selling nationally. So you want to drive large volumes of traffic, and you could be targeting people that are searching for running shoes or something, along those lines. And that there's a large volume, but you don't want to run pay-per-click ads because you would be competing with all the Nikes and stuff. And while you're able to ship nationally, you're a much smaller, chain or whatever. So you might be targeting it with programmatic, but then you're really connecting with them on social media and such and running ads there. So we have a lot of ways. Like if you, start thinking, it's kind of like, what is it, three-dimensional chess? Yeah. Like, start thinking a lot more along those lines instead of, on different planes. If I connect this, I could use this, and then I could be going over here, that's what you want to be doing.
Right. Oh, yeah. I think the idea of just being able to easily just like, oh, I can target that person and find that person and get that person. It sounds really easy. And maybe it used to be. I don't ever remember it being that. I guess there was a point where it felt like you could like type anything in and it was like, this is your person. And you were like, I'll market to them. Well, it's gotten a little bit more tricky. It's not, like you said, it's not crazy to kind of just think outside the box to get in front of them. And because I think for anything that's marketing, right? It's how many times do they see me? Can they trust me? Am I showing up for the in enough places that, like you said, maybe you saw that Hulu ad for the dog food and go, all right, I'm feeling them a little bit more. I'm trusting them a little bit more. I see that they're able to put more out there than just one product that you found, and maybe you'll start noticing them more, which gets you to buy their product, which everything that we do.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they have other products and stuff that are complementary, maybe I start seeing ads on those because you're trying to sway, my opinion into, to the point where I'll actually purchase and whatnot. And you might be doing it not because I want that. Well, I didn't buy that. So now you start using different platforms and you're showing me different ads for other products that would be related based on what I did end up seeing.
Oh yeah. I was going to say quickly, or what is the buying intent, right? So maybe they hit you with the emotional feel in the video ad, but maybe then they show you a retargeting ad with a savings, right? What is it that's going to get cash to open up his wallet to buy that, right? And you could use those platforms because, like, if you were like $5 off in a video, seems really gimmicky, but so what is it that works for you? And maybe they'll hit you with, again, if they were smart, then maybe go with 3 or 4 different ways to try to get, you to give it a try for your Huskies.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's different things. Another strategy that's I've discussed with some people recently is like, so taking social media and combining with email marketing.
Mm,
Okay. Because sometimes it's not, let's say it could be, it's not necessarily two paid platforms working together. Sometimes it's one to support another. So you take, and if you think funnels, well, you can run paid ads on social media because the idea is cheap clicks. You could do this with programmatic and stuff too, so that you can run inexpensive campaigns and you do it on social media, and then you have some sort of a lead magnet because all you want is their email address.
right.
Okay. And you're giving them something that would be of interest, that is related obviously to what you do, but you can collect the email address. Now you can build up an email list and you can use that to email market them a lot, for a long time. One thing that's proven also effective to keep the ads apparently, even cheaper is to use video ads actually, because you
Mm,
can you can rack up video views a lot cheaper than regular clicks, and you're still, so if you think about this, Facebook of course has lead forms and stuff, so the possibility exists you could do your lead magnet pretty much through the system because you don't even have to drive necessarily to the website.
oh yeah, I found that the lead forms though get expensive kind of quickly. I'm not sure why. Um, but we started doing lead forms and then pivoted to more of like a landing page.
Hmm.
And I know that like you would think Facebook would be so angry with us kicking them off of their site, but it literally went from like $10 down to $1, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'll take that, which is so weird because I would have thought it would have been easier. And at some point, I was really big on those. And it probably works on the
It
who it's
depends.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to do for the industry because we do a lot of in the trucking space, and
Mhm.
we also do like student recruitment there, and the lead forms work better than driving them over to the website.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason being is the autofill function,
Yeah.
so we're able to get more forms filled out on Facebook. But if you're using a lead magnet, it would make sense that on a landing page that could work a lot better. Because you're going to be able to include a little bit more about it and such too, so you can get a higher conversion rate over there.
Hmm.
But you can still use the video, as a driver because the video views and stuff are going to be, less expensive, too. But let's say you're still combining. The idea is to use your social media. You could do this with programmatic and stuff too. You're giving them something, and then you're collecting the email address, which is what your ultimate goal is, so that you can market to them using your email marketing.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. We did a pretty low cost Facebook advertising where we sent them to a trivia. They did like a little trivia and they signed up and played a game of trivia or whatever. And that was it was for a AV marketing company, AV,
Oh yeah, yeah,
video equipment or whatever. And it was just to get people knowledgeable about brands and everything. And while they work for a lot of brands and they can market for multiple items if they want to. So,
hmm.
but they were just trying to kind of create a nice lead list. And trivia did a great job at getting people to come in and play. And again, it's something so simple that anybody can set up and do without very much energies, but can get people just to know your brand or get involved with your brand in a way.
Yeah. It's like I say, part of it. It's like using the different platforms to engage them is
Hmm.
the goal. Um, because like I say, too many times we end up thinking of one specific platform as being kind of the like just do this and then it'll pay off. I always like to so for example, like we work with a lot of local businesses, and some of it's about goals. Some of it's
Hmm.
about how are you trying to reach people and whatnot. And so if you're like a service based business, the area that we're in has a lot of surrounding towns, so you might be in one and you've got another one 10 miles away. So with service businesses, because of SEO and its nature, and that it's hard to rank if you don't have a physical location for any kind of location-based business, we'll combine pay-per-click with SEO. SEO being to help dominate the local market, because you want to rank there and try to rank first, but then the pay-per-click being used to reach the other surrounding areas, because I'll ask what's your travel radius, where are you willing to go, and so now I can work those ads in there, and then
Right.
if I really want to take it a step further, now I can, combine it with programmatic, or at the very least retargeting ads through Google and whatnot. And then I'm able to take advantage of the SEO traffic, I'm able to take advantage of the paid traffic. And then I might include like Facebook and just run a retargeting campaign there,
Mm.
so I can get further my brand awareness, because I'm driving the traffic from my paid and my SEO, and then I'm still hitting you on Facebook to go with it, so that I'm,
Mhm.
everywhere you are.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's, you think about the sales funnel, right? And where people are at, right?
Uh-huh.
Even that retargeting is that moment where they're like, oh, dryer vent cleaning. I need that. And then they type it in, and then all of a sudden, either you show up SEO wise because it's close to the area that you're targeting,
Hmm.
or you're outside that area, but still within the area. Like, right, when they both kind of have a similar kind of footprint that you're marketing to,
Yeah.
you have a better chance now of them seeing you. And now they're lower funnel and go, I want to do business with them, or I should give them a try, or
Yeah.
that name sounds familiar, when before they might never have heard of you.
Yeah. And another way to approach it too is, if you are, so let's say that you rank really well in a local market, okay, and you're just in that market, that's all you want to do. You might be in a big, big geographic area and stuff, like high population and whatnot. Well, even if you were ranked first in SEO, don't be the only, use paid ads too, because when the search results load, it's leads with paid ads, and then
Mhm.
it gets into the map. And what I always encourage people is own as much real estate as possible. Well, to do that, you have to do multiple things, because they could, you want to get in front of as many people doing those searches, because they could click the ad and never see the organic. They could pass right over the ads and get to the organic. But even if they pass over the ads, they're going to see you, and you.
Mhm.
And
There
so,
you are on the map. There you
yeah,
are on paid. There you are in organic. Exactly.
yeah. The idea is up the odds of them contacting you, and there are so many ways to go about it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, let's see. If you were thinking about putting all this, so how does the data, okay, if we get into the data, and how does it help us determine which platforms are going to be the ones we should really be focused on? Like, what are the key data points that, businesses should be focused on?
Yeah, I mean, for some the obvious things, right? Click through rates, right? So what keywords are doing well for you? Which ones are driving hopefully the most value, right?
Yeah.
Not only are they clicking on it, but yeah, how much are you paying for, right? Is it $10 a click? Is it $1 a click? And
Hmm.
then whether or not, how engaged are those people, right? Once they make it to your website, are they doing a series of events, right? So in like Google, you could have secondary kind of events or conversions or whatever that you can kind of see some of the traffic on.
Yeah.
Same thing with um, Facebook. You could definitely see what they're doing, and then the final, of course, is did they do what you want? Did they fill out a form? Did they make a phone call? Did they click an email, or sign up for maybe a drip campaign or whatever it is that is part of your sales process? If we're looking at really, I mean, making sure you have conversions, I think anytime we've ever taken over anybody's account and they have Google ads and there's not a conversion in there, it's like, how do you know it's working or not? You have some data, but you don't have all the data, and at least you can get something from it. So I mean, the bare minimum is that, and then the engagement of that person, and then looking at the dollar amount for how
Yeah.
much those keywords cost.
One thing, so here's one of the things I like to do when it comes to stats too. So if you're running a pay-per-click campaign, when we're doing SEO, we can check Keyword Planner and stuff like that, to say, okay, what keywords should we actually be targeting? So because we want to figure out what do we go after that actually has traffic behind it,
Mhm.
and but there's no substitution for real traffic. Actual, how many times did my ad show? So if you're looking at the impressions, and if you go into, the actual keyword data to see what people were searching for and stuff, and see how many times you showed up for certain terms, I say there's no substitute for actually running a campaign and seeing which are the most popular things, that you're showing for, and then you modify your SEO to go after those terms.
Mhm.
Because it's like, hey, I know people are searching for these things, So this is what I need to also be going after so I can show up more. Because a lot of times, like I say, SEO is great until you find out you're targeting the wrong thing.
Well, yeah, targeting the wrong thing or getting the wrong people on the wrong
Mhm.
page, or maybe they're looking for yeah, let's just say maybe they're looking for a cheap moving service, right? They're looking
Yeah.
for to move from a house, but maybe you go after cheap moving service because maybe on that landing page you can tell them the problem with cheap moving is you'll get somewhere and then they
Yeah.
will charge you, $500 just to get the
Sure.
stuff off the truck, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to get you in with the $100 moving deal or whatever it is and what you
Yeah.
need
Look
to
for the
expect.
hidden cost. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you could just build trust from there. And but like if that goes to your regular landing page, you've never now like solved that issue. But maybe in the future you can get there through seeing a keyword, maybe going after it. Maybe it's a cheap one because all the other companies aren't going after it either. And
Yeah.
there's definitely ways that you can kind of keep adjusting. And that's why like really to me, pay-per-click is not a do it once and like you're good to go. I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
And Google in the kind of express land makes it feel like it could be that easy, and that's good. That's a good starting point. But a good marketing partner like what you guys do, really are refining those ads over and over and over again to kind of
Yeah.
keep finding the biggest bang for the buck.
Well, like I say, you're finding the nuggets, and then I've seen where it's going to be most effective, and through refinement, it helps your other strategies because that
Mhm.
same information can be applied to other areas. You start to see what works. For example, let's take Facebook, and it's got a ton of targeting options and whatnot. Well, so does programmatic. In which case, you can learn from one. Say you've been running Facebook ads for a while or a different social platform, and you start seeing which demographics are most engaged with your stuff. Which audiences get the highest, impression rates and click through rates and stuff, and who performs best. And then you take that data and you cross over to a programmatic and you start plugging in the same kinds of things because it gives you a head start. You're not starting from scratch. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, and especially in like Google AdWords, where it starts to give you some demographic data sometimes, like if it's male or female, you can
Mhm.
sometimes go, oh, the males convert this much better. Well, why are we serving it to both when you could go after maybe a demographic
Yeah,
that again that just because I mean a lot of times in a perfect world you have enough budget to satisfy your keywords, but a lot of times I
need
mean
it.
I
Yeah.
pretty much every one of my accounts always say you could spend more. So it's like, okay, well maybe I don't need to spend more, maybe I just need to refine who I'm going after.
Yeah, I know that's the running joke with Google. What's their top recommendation? Spend more money.
Spend more
Yeah,
money.
every marketer I've talked to, we also everybody knows that's what they're going to tell us.
Mm.
But like I say, there is to your point, there's a ton of things that like I say, it can be refinement, and one platform can help you refine another platform too.
Yeah.
When you're doing that kind of thing, like I said, the data that you get, like I say, you can carry audiences over. There's so many things that you can do. An example I have too. So like one of the things like I say I've run a lot of trucking ads and stuff in the past, and we currently do. And one of the things we learned is with like trucking and stuff, don't bother with anything on the desktop. Stick strictly to mobile. We
Oh.
learned that through Google. So where are we going to apply it though? To social. And we shut
Hmm.
off so we don't bother running any desktop ads.
Right.
Because we learned that all our clicks were coming through mobile anyway. So we took that, make sure we optimize that experience. That's what we, go for that first, shut everything else off. But we took the information and we carried it over, to the social ads and stuff we run and say, look, we know most traffic is mobile anyway on social, but don't bother with anything desktop, because
Hmm.
it's not an effective, it's just going to waste our spend, so
Yeah. Well,
keep everything focused in.
and what's so funny though is Google says or Facebook says you need to spend more. But the irony though is that deep down inside, if you overspend, i.e., you don't hit a very like you don't get a good click-through rate or your ads aren't
Mhm.
engaging or they know right people aren't liking or commenting or whatever you want them to do with what your goal is because you're just doing it for mobile and desktop, it actually hurts you.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is so huge because it's creating more engagement and building that trust with the, with the ad networks that they're looking
Uh-huh.
for. So they'll serve your ads up a little more for hopefully a little less.
Yeah, that's the idea. So, the whole point is that, you know that you can use multiple platforms, that they can work together. It's not just a matter of I generate traffic on this one, I can do, retargeting ads and stuff on this one. There are other things you can do because the data is relevant across different platforms, and you can shorten your learning curve and stuff, throughout them.
Yeah.
So there's a ton, and that's the idea. Look beyond just what it is that you're doing. There's a lot of combinations that work really well together.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. This has been great, David. How would people get a hold of you and your agency?
Yeah. We're online, obviously. iwantclarity.com. I'm on LinkedIn, David Forman, or Twitter at I Want Clarity. So you can.
It's
I'm on
not
there all the
Twitter
time.
anymore,
Oh, it's
dude.
X. I'm gonna call it that till the day I die. The same thing I'll always call, Google Ads.
All the new,
15 other names.
Yeah, it's not Google AdWords anymore. It's
No.
ads and stuff. At least that was easy. I love the Twitter one because it's X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yes.
Every news article, whenever they're putting something up or referencing it, they've been putting that in there, X, formerly known as Twitter, because nobody, X, come on.
What's right? Exactly. You're going to lose people and going, oh, what are they talking about X for? What's that? So.
Yeah, exactly. So well, like I say, he's trying to burn it down, one, one piece at a time.
He's doing great.
Yeah, he's. Like I say, I've never seen anybody so intent on burning up. Like I say, take the dollar bill and you burn it. Yeah, he's taking 44 billion of them.
It's the first company that I've ever had what I feel are like just rumors on a daily basis, and I'm like, oh, that can't be true. Oh, that's true. That can't be true. Oh, that's true. I've never had that. Every time it's always real.
Yeah, his latest is that they're taking the headlines out of the news articles. So you just get the image. You don't know what the hell it is, what they're talking about. You just get an image. There's no headlines allowed in the tweets. I'm like, well, I don't know. He's like self-destructive when it comes to that platform.
Who told him that was a good idea?
Yeah. Well, apparently everybody told him it was a really bad idea, and he doesn't care.
We have to start doing the opposite and see how that goes.
Yeah. The advertisers literally said, "Don't do that, please," and they're like, "I don't care.
I'm going to do it." We should all tell them that's a great idea. You should definitely do that.
Well, this has been another great episode. My name's Cash Miller. I'm the host of Marketing Masters, CEO of Titan Digital. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, platforms can work together, and there's a lot of data you can get when they're crossing over and such, so they can help each other. Don't stick to just one. There's a lot of uses in putting them together.